there, so it looks like it might come right down right here. Hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Rain soaking hillsides in Southern California's burn areas, leading to the threat of mudslides throughout the coming days. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. We have seen 2 straight days of rain in Southern California, and there is more on the way. From L.A. to San Diego, we've seen showers off and on throughout the day. Here's a live look at the conditions tonight at LAX. You can see some raindrops there on the lens, and the roads are slick here near the airport tonight. Now, people living near the Palisades and Eaton fire burn areas are being warned to not let their guard down. Mud is collecting along barricades in Pacific Palisades, with some of it making its way onto the Pacific Coast Highway. Crews have been here using heavy equipment to try to clear out that mud and debris. And fortunately, there have been no reports so far of any major new slides with this latest rain system. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the wet weather, especially in Southern California, but all across the West as well. Mark?
That's right, Alex. In fact, they could be looking at some more rainfall into next week. So the active weather stretch will continue into next week, but thankfully a break in the weekend. As far as the winter weather advisories, you can't see all these areas in the mountains of Southern California. That advisory is in place until 10 o'clock this evening. Rainfall totals over the past 24 hours. You can see Mission Viejo 0.42, Santa Monica 0.19, Long Beach 0.19 as well. And it has been a pretty active radar. So the focal point with this system for California has been down towards central and Southern California is becoming closer. You can see all the coverage here with some moderate to heavy rainfall swinging into Southern California from Los Angeles into the San Diego area. This was the scene today in Southern California. Temperatures in the mid-50s, a storm cloud showing up in that camera lens. In the San Francisco Bay Area, some scattered showers, especially in portions of the South Bay closer to San Jose, but San Francisco topped out 57, and Seattle showing you a high mainly in lower 50s this afternoon. Checking out the big picture here on the west coast here, the satellite and the upper level wind pattern. See a big trough moving into a good portion in California. So that's some cold air that will settle in at least overnight tonight and into your Friday morning. Current numbers, it is 65 in Phoenix. Right now it's 52 in San Francisco. Seattle currently in the 40s at 46 degrees. And here's the plan for tomorrow. Partly sunny skies up in Seattle. Possibility of some snowfall out toward the Denver area. And we could have some showers in the Phoenix area tomorrow, but it looks like we're going to clear things up for San Francisco and in the Los Angeles area. But we will keep an eye on some of this energy out here in the Pacific because this will eventually impact the forecast into the weekend, especially for Seattle. So here is the forecast model showing you this. We will have those rain clouds moving out of Southern California and moving into Arizona. Not only some rainfall, but also some snowfall as well. And so this is your Friday forecast. And then into the weekend, the chance of some rain approaching portions of the Pacific Northwest, especially later in the day on Saturday. But there's a lot of energy out here in the Pacific, and that could play a big factor in the forecast for next week. Over the next 3 days, Seattle has that sun-cloud mix. Lots of sunshine for San Francisco and Los Angeles. And once again, the possibility of some snowfall for Denver and in Phoenix. Looks like some rain showers. Looks like we'll clear things out just in time for the weekend. So thankfully, Alex, we talked about the rain in Southern California. They will get a break as we do move into the weekend.
All right, that is certainly some good news. Yeah. Mark, thank you. Search teams in Alaska say poor weather is complicating the efforts to try to reach the site of an avalanche where 3 skiers have likely died. The remote mountain range in Gerwood is accessible only by air. It's about 40 miles south of Anchorage. First responders believe 3 men in their 30s died on Tuesday when snow swept down that mountain. They say the victims could be buried in snow as tall as a 10-story building. If the deaths are confirmed, that would make this the deadliest avalanche here in the U.S. since 2023. The death of someone infected with measles in New Mexico is heightening concerns tonight about the country's ongoing outbreak. Doctors have not confirmed whether the man died from the measles, but they know that he was infected with the virus. They say that he was unvaccinated and did not seek medical care. The man lived in Lee County, New Mexico. He was the 10th person in Lee County to have a recent confirmed measles infection. Lee County is near the West Texas region where more than 100 measles cases have been identified recently. The virus killed a school-aged child in West Texas last week, and the CDC now is sending a team to Texas to assist with the response to this outbreak. School districts across the West are bracing for an executive order from President Trump to shutter the Department of Education and it could come as soon as this week. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, who was sworn in on Monday, says she supports President Trump's plan. In her first message to her staff, titled "Our Department's Final Mission," she writes about accountability and restoring the rightful role of state oversight in education. The president does not have the authority to eliminate the department. That power lies with Congress. But the president can, however, drain the department of its resources. Washington State's education superintendent says schools just can't afford this.
Dismantle the department and cut budgets. Not only will we lose the ability to have the federal government as a backstop for civil rights, we wouldn't have a place to go to if a major civil right violation was occurring at a large scale. Number two, the vast bulk of the money that we get from the federal government is in three areas: meals for kids, supports for students with disabilities, and what we call Title I.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says he welcomes efforts to dismantle the department.
You don't need all these federal mandates sent down to the states. The education should be local. The more local, the better. You need parents and local school boards and superintendents to make the big decisions.
Federal funding makes up a relatively small portion of public school budgets, roughly 14%. Colleges and universities are more reliant on it through research grants and financial aid to help students pay tuition. California is now suing the Trump administration over its termination of grant funding for K-12 teacher preparation programs. Attorney General Rob Bonta today announced that California is leading a multi-state coalition in this lawsuit. He says in February, California institutions received letters that declared that $148 million in grants was being terminated. Those were used to address the state's ongoing teacher shortage through teacher preparation programs.
Terminating these grants hurts aspiring teachers and the K-12 schools that rely on this federal funding to bring teachers into their classrooms. These terminations also hurt the University of California and California State University systems.
AG Bonta calls the White House move illegal because the funds have already been allocated by Congress through the Teacher Quality Grant Program. We turn now to the latest tariff twist, and President Trump today announced that he's placing another temporary reprieve on many imports from Mexico, as well as some products from Canada. The one-month delay comes just 2 days after he imposed 25% tariffs on goods from those two countries. His tariff plan has triggered widespread fears about a broader trade war that could damage the economy. Canada today said its initial retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. will remain in place despite the reprieve, and that it expects to be in a trade war with the U.S. for the foreseeable future.
I think the American people are beginning to understand that a tariff war with Canada, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It actually causes more pain than benefit.
The reprieve is set to last until April 2nd. It applies to goods covered by the 2020 U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement for Free Trade. On Wall Street today, stocks tanked today amid all the uncertainty brought on by the rapid shifts in President Trump's tariff policy. And obviously the wrong numbers there on the screen showing the Dow up there. But the Dow did lose more than 420 points earlier on today. The Nasdaq sank by more than 2.5% to close at about 18,000. And the S&P 500 also in the red today, down more than 100 points during the trading session. That was about 2%. And you can stay on top of the latest reaction across the West to the moves being made by the White House around this ongoing trade war. You can do that by heading to our website. That's westcoastwrap.com. Tonight, a Seattle community is heartbroken after a middle school student was struck and killed by a car that rolled down a hill today. As Fox 13's Frankie Thompson reports, that car started rolling after the driver failed to put it in park.
This is a parent's worst nightmare. Relatives showed up here to Washington Middle School, falling to their knees, weeping in disbelief. There was a stillness in the air as one woman was sobbing, crying out for that little girl. It was so chilling to hear those painful cries echoing as we saw her loved ones pick her up from the ground and walk her closer to the scene. Seattle police say around 1 p.m. just after lunch, a driver failed to put their SUV fully in park on the one-way street of 20th Place South. That unattended car rolled backwards approximately 75 feet down a small hill and hit the 12-year-old girl who was on her way to recess. She died moments later. The driver is now being evaluated by SPD for drugs and alcohol use as standard procedure.
On behalf of Chief Barnes and the rest of our department, this is obviously a tragic situation for the community here, for the schools, and I just offer our support to Superintendent Jones and the rest of Seattle Public Schools and all their families, and if we can do anything for him and them, we would certainly do so.
Seattle Public Schools says campus went into shelter-in-place mode, locking all doors while the investigation developed outside. The school asked families to stay away from campus while Seattle police remained on scene. Now, class has since been dismissed early. The district is providing extra resources tomorrow for students and teachers who are mourning this little girl's sudden death.
We have mental health experts, we have nursing staff, we have social workers, counselors. That comprises our care team. We have other staff who are here also to support safety and security to make sure that we've secured down the security area.
There are still so many details being investigated right now. Detectives are working to find out why that driver was on this street and why they left their car not parked and unattended. They're also looking at the path the young student took getting from the school building to her intended location for recess. The streets surrounding Washington Middle School are open once again to traffic. Our team is going to continue following developments in this tragic situation and bring you the latest details as they become available. Reporting in Seattle, Frankie Thompson, Fox 13 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a new glimpse inside the ballpark that the A's hope to call home soon. Tonight, see what developers have planned along the Las Vegas Strip. Also, body camera video shows sheriff's deputies in Colorado piecing together a kidnapping case as they find a boy who was abducted 7 years ago.
Began to uncover inconsistencies in the suspect's story, and their work led them to a shocking discovery.
What we need to do is figure out what kid is missing. Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't run the kids yet.
No, we haven't. No, just a listing.
No.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, that's her.
Newly released body camera video shows sheriff's deputies in Colorado piecing together the clues as they realize that the boy that they have with them was kidnapped 7 years ago. We told you about this remarkable story last night here on the show. The sheriff's deputies discovered the boy as they were investigating a burglary. The child was kidnapped in Georgia at the age of 7. Tonight, Fox 31's Vicente Arenas reports that his family has now flown to Colorado for a reunion.
This story first started when two people showed up at a home for sale in Highlands Ranch. The owner of the home says he saw on security cameras that one person was carrying a level, another a tape measure. Then the man went to the backyard and then through a back door. That homeowner knew something wasn't right.
When Douglas County Sheriff's deputies arrived at the home, they had a hard time positively identifying Rabia Khalid and Elliot Blake Bourgeois. The two were seen exiting a home for sale on South Kellywood Way in Highlands Ranch on February 23rd. Then the unexpected happened.
Two individuals exited the home, and as the deputies began to investigate further, they began to uncover inconsistencies in the suspect's story, and their work led them to a shocking discovery.
Turns out Khalid and Bourgeois were wanted in connection with the disappearance of Khalid's son in Atlanta 7 years ago. Abdul Aziz Khan, who is now 14, had been featured on national shows featuring missing children. The teenager was in the driveway of this home along with the younger sibling when deputies arrived. Investigators say the four had been living in Aurora and had been sought in Louisiana and many other states.
We went to 11 different states looking for this young lady and the child, and it had really gone cold. We'd entered it in NCMEC, we'd entered it in everything we could to try to keep shaking the tree and rattling the bushes to see if we could get it to fall out.
The man who owns this home for sale said he saw a man on his security cameras go in the back door and called 911.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Some here had no idea the missing child had been found along this street.
I mean, that poor kid taken from his parents, like, that's horrific.
The boy's family came to meet with the sheriff after the child was found.
What I will tell you is there wasn't a dry eye in the room.
Khan is now being held at an undisclosed location.
It's not clear when the 14-year-old boy will be reunited with his father. The next hearing for the couple in this case will be held on March 27th. At the Douglas County Justice Center, Vicente Arenas, Fox 31.
A former Olympic athlete suspected of using Los Angeles as a hub for drug trafficking has been added now to the FBI's most wanted list. Today, agents announced snowboarder Ryan Wedding is one of their top 10 most wanted. The Canadian national is accused of leading a cross-border drug operation. Investigators say he's working with Mexican cartels to move an estimated 60 tons of cocaine each year, along with 5 tons of fentanyl each month. He's also accused of ordering several murders in Canada to protect his drug empire.
He was famous for competing in Canada in 2002 as an Olympic snowboarder. Wedding went from being an elite athlete to running one of the most sophisticated drug trafficking networks in North America.
Wedding is believed to be hiding out in Mexico. The State Department is offering a $10 million reward for any information that leads to his arrest. Investigators say they've seized $4 million worth of stolen goods in a California retail theft bust. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department posted video online showing investigators carrying out search warrants at 9 different locations. They say they found goods stolen from a variety of stores, including Target, Ulta Beauty, Nordstrom, Macy's, and TJ Maxx. 7 arrests have been made in connection with these thefts. The suspects have been booked for organized retail theft, grand theft, and receiving stolen property. Investigators say this investigation is ongoing, and they expect there could be more arrests. Tonight, California Governor Gavin Newsom is facing a backlash over comments he made about transgender athletes during his own podcast. Those remarks have left some wondering if he's turning away from the LGBTQ community. On his This Is Gavin Newsom podcast, the governor expressed sympathy for the issues and emotional stress transgender people are put through, but also said he sees transgender women in sports as a question of fairness to biological females. Backlash from his own party was swift. The California Legislative LGBTQ caucus said they were, quote, profoundly sickened by his remarks. Wynn Noland, who is CEO of an insurance and risk management firm in New York and a transgender woman, noted the unique nature of Governor Newsom's comments.
He's really the first Democrat of national exposure or national importance that's come out with that kind of a statement.
Governor Newsom's now middle-of-the-road stance is likely to be interpreted as the next step for a termed-out governor who may be seeking higher office. Well, plans to build the A's new ballpark in Las Vegas are moving forward. Tonight, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board released some new renderings of the ballpark. As Fox 5's Victoria Saha explains, the idea is to have fans feel like they're in the heart of the Strip while they also enjoy the ballpark experience.
A major update from the Athletics as we wait for them to call Las Vegas their home. But another update today, Mark Bedane is back. He was in the house and he is set to lead another big sports team. We spoke to him after the Stadium Authority meeting, and he says even though these two teams are very different, he's ready. Besides the announcement of Bedane being the leader of this team, the other big update was the new renderings of the ballpark. The architects for the stadium wanted to emphasize how they wanted fans to feel like they were in the heart of the Strip while also having the experience of being in a ballpark. We saw just how massive the stadium will look like from Las Vegas Boulevard as they emphasized unfan experience. They wanted to make sure fans kept coming back. We also saw in the renderings that there was a little something for everyone, with different seating options that can hold up to 30,000 fans, food and beverage stations, all while you can overlook the Strip buildings. The Stadium Authority also approved a 7-person oversight committee. These people were appointed from the governor to various other state leaders as well. For now, reporting from the Las Vegas Convention Center, Victoria Saha, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Rap, using art to try to beat the heat in the Arizona desert. We'll show you what's being done in one city and trying to put this into practice. And it's more than just a good way to exercise. See how dance is helping people well into their 90s form a sense of community in the Las Vegas Valley. In Phoenix, city leaders and artists are working together to find a creative way to try to beat the heat. Phoenix's Office of Arts and Culture has teamed up with the Office of Heat Response and Mitigation to challenge artists in the area to create an Instagrammable installation that is nice to look at, but will also provide shade and cooling in parks.
Sombra Experiments in Shade is a temporary public art project that brings artists together with civic leaders to address extreme urban heat in Phoenix.
The city is going to roll out the first installation next month, and then they are going to roll out a new installation every weekend after that. All of those installations will be available through September. And finally tonight, a dance group near Las Vegas is proving there's no age limit for performers ready to attract some crowds. Fox 5's Molly McBride had a chance to see some of the dancers in action.
My name is Mary Jean Lee. Before I got married, it was Mary Jean C., like C's Candy.
Mary Jean Lee has always been busy. During the Great Depression, she was sent to live on her grandparents' dairy farm.
I used to help milk the cows. I remember when we got electricity in 1935.
Then in high school,
I lived with a doctor's family and worked for my room and board.
Now at 95, she's still hard at work. This time, doing something she loves. Dancing.
Why do you love it?
Just something I always wanted to do. It's just good exercise. And I get up in the morning and think, oh no, I don't know if I can dance today. But I go to class and I do it. And when I get home, I feel good.
For 20 years, Lee's been dancing here at the Sun City Summerlin Dance Company.
Why are you still dancing?
I can't stop, that's why.
Making friends along the way, too, like 95-year-old Arlene Janice.
I don't want to sit around and be alone. You got to be with people. You have to have friends.
Who agrees staying active is essential.
Oh, boy. You don't want to sit around and do nothing.
Janice and Lee are two of the more than 80 members at the company. Director Jolene Carter tells me there's no age or experience level required. Anyone who lives in Sun City Summerlin is welcomed.
We have jazz, musical theater, tap. In the summer, we have ballet. We did have hip-hop. That didn't go over too good.
Right now, the company's working toward their annual performance. Both Janice and Lee tell me they're expecting a big turnout from the people they care about the most, their families.
My family mean a lot, and my grandchildren.
My children, my grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren. They're all coming. I've got 20-some coming.
Molly McBride, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
It should be a fantastic performance. A talented group of dancers there. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a quick reminder before we head out tonight, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West Coast at our website, westcoastwrap.com. And stream our shows on your smart TV by downloading the free Fox Local app. Have a great night.